Okay, welcome to a driving tour of Catoctin Mountain Park. This is a national park near Thurmont, Maryland, that was created during the Great Depression as a demonstration site for public lands and recreation, and was built by the CCC, Civilian Conservation Corps. We've entered the park at 4:40, and we're now turning onto Park Central Road, which is the main road that goes through this small unit of the National Park Service. And what's unique about Catoctin Park is that it is home to the President's Retreat, Camp David, although that is not marked on park maps, but you can view it from Google Maps and Google Satellite, Google Earth, whatever Google medium you want to use. This is quite a small national park unit, and one of the few that is just designated as a park. It's not a quote-unquote national park, nor is it a national memorial or historic site. It is just called Catoctin Mountain Park. There's only a few just parks in the national park system, which has 412 units, 59 of which are full-fledged national parks, like the big ones you've heard of: Yosemite, Yellowstone, Grand Canyon, etc. This is a park mainly just for recreation and nature. There's not a whole lot of sights to see. And this road goes for just a few miles. I can't remember the exact length, and I forgot to look at my trip meter when we pulled in here, but let's say it was around 38. So I think I've driven about a mile so far. And we're now coming up to the first junction, which is the Round Meadow Camp. There are cabins in there that you can rent, and that was to our right. I guess that was actually the junction of Mahahan Road, which leads to the Round Meadow Camp. And then the next area we should encounter will be the Chestnut picnic area and the Green Top Camp. And I see here's the sign for Chestnut picnic area on the left. And then coming up on the right should be the entrance to Green Top Camp, which is one of the original camps that was built back in the Depression era and is open to the public. You can rent cabins from the National Park Service to stay in there. And now we get onto the sensitive part of the road, which is between Green Top Camp and the parking area for Hog Rock Nature Trail. To my left, to the north, is Camp David. It is not marked, as I said, on the official National Park Service map, but it was one of the original camps constructed during the Depression, and the presidents liked it so much they kept it as their retreat. I can now see the fence line on the left, where there are signs that say warning, no trespassing, keep out, etc. The camp is actually a Navy station, I read online, which is interesting because we're nowhere near the sea here, but since it is the presidential retreat, It is operated by the military, and the Navy, for whatever reason, is the branch of the military that operates Camp David. And right to the left, that is the access road that goes into Camp David. And you can see there are gates here. Presumably they closed this road at this point when the president is at the camp. So there are no signage or anything to let you know that that is the Camp David access road. You just kind of drive past it, and if you didn't do your research ahead of time online, you'd have no clue that you just drove by the entrance to the presidential retreat camp. President Obama today is in the Asian country of Laos, so he is not even in the United States, let alone at Camp David here, or even nearby in Washington. Yet security is always maintained very high because there could be other high-ranking government officials who are using the retreat. It is not open to the public. And as I learned earlier, even stopping to take a picture of the access road draws a response from the U.S. Park Rangers. So they're very serious about keeping it closed off, even though it's quite an oddity having this military installation in the middle of a national park. We're now descending, and we've reached the parking lot for Hog Rock Trail, and on the other side is the short trail I was going to hike, but I'm short on time, so I'm skipping it. That leads to Blue Ridge Summit Overlook. And so we are now descending, heading eastbound, and soon we'll make a big turn to the right after the parking area for Charcoal Trail. And then we will be heading southbound, and then it will only be another mile or so, and that will be the end of the park. So I'm not joking when I said it is a very small park. You will see pretty much the entire main east-west corridor of this park on my video here. We're now 7.5 minutes into the drive, and some light sprinkles continue to fall. It was nice and sunny earlier, but it has clouded over, and I've had a few sprinkles, but nothing too big. I've been enjoying my tour of national park units in southern Pennsylvania and western Maryland. There's the Thurmont Vista and Charcoal Trail parking, so we should be making the giant bend to the south up here soon, and that will be the last mile or so of Park Central Road. We continue descending, as you can probably tell from the video. Here's another road closed barricade. This is the entrance to the Misty Mount camp, another one of the camps that's open to public stays. All of them, except for Camp David, are open to the public. Owens Creek is a traditional campground where you camp in tents. I drove through that and saw only one tent there, so it is not very busy here on Wednesday, September 7th, the 2 days after Labor Day, although the weather is still beautiful. My car thermometer indicates it's 82 degrees outside right now. And I'm taking a video on my phone, so I don't have my GPS altimeter on, but I believe we're somewhere around 1,100 or 1,200 feet here, heading down to the visitor center, which is right around 1,000 feet. So it's up in the hills a little bit, but not a huge degree of altitude. And Misty Mount was the last camp. Another set of road closed barricades, so I guess when the president is here, they can shut this whole thing down wherever they deem is necessary. And here we are. On the left, you can see the Park Visitor Center. And that is the end of the park. We now reach the junction with Maryland 77. And I will be turning eastbound to head a short distance to Thurmont and US 15. From there, I will be going south toward Frederick, and then I need to figure out my next destination. So 10 minutes it took to drive through Park Central Road. And looking at my trip meter, we're at 42.8. I think I said we started around 38. So that would make it about 4.8 miles through the park. And that's the end of the tour of Catoctin Mountain Park.